Time to change that battery on your Harley Davidson M8 Softail. Let's get into this one. RevelatorAlf. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. So this video is all about changing the stock Harley Davidson AGM battery for an alternative. So here in the UK, the stock replacement battery is about £160. A lithium battery from Harley Davidson is about £250. I picked this up from my local parts supplier here, called Halfords. If you're in the UK, you'll know that shop, and it's a Yuasa battery, and it is the YTX20HL-BS, but I don't think the BS means anything anymore, pardon the pun, but it is the Yuasa YTX20HL battery. So if you go onto a website, you search for this battery, the ones that we got here in the UK, you put in your registration, the make and model of your motorcycle, and it will tell you if it is compatible. This one is. Okay, why am I looking at a new battery? And first of all, I just got to say thank you to all the people who've commented and sent me emails on the videos that I've been making about the starting issues I've been having with this bike. It's been really well received. Thanks very much, and lots of great information out there. Somebody, apologies, I do forget your name, actually recommended this battery as well. Funny enough, I had been looking at this when I've been looking at alternatives anyway. It's a lot cheaper, half the price really, £87. Its CCA cold crank amperage is 310, which is 5 less than the stock Harley battery, but it's also running at 18.9 amp hours as opposed to the 17.5 amp hours for the stock battery as well. Okay, so why am I going for a new battery? Well, one of the problems I had was that I took my stock battery down to the dealership and got them to put it on their load tester to give me a health check on the battery, and they said it was absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Then I started to look at all the other issues, all the troubleshooting, and I made videos about that as well. But still the problem persisted, and it's that first start of the day, and I'd lose power to the instrument module, and then the clock had to be reset. But eventually the bike would start after a little hesitation. Thereafter, no problems in starting. This all, to me, pointing towards a battery issue, but I think I got distracted by the battery getting a positive health check from the dealership. Anyway, so I thought, you know what, let me just try and change this battery and see if it works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this battery, and then I'm going to come back to you at this video in a minute or two, but a week would have passed, and let you know if it's worked or not. Right, let me do this first of all. Okay, so as you saw there, all I was quickly doing, it was just making sure that the power to the starter motor, the nut was done up tightly. Just give it an extra half turn if you're unsure. Right, anyway, so let's just get this Yuasa battery out and see what's what. And there we go, there's the battery. So basically this is an 18.9 amp hour battery, and it's a 310 amp CCA. As opposed to the stock is with 17.5 amp hour, and that's 315, so slightly less on the CCA, but it's supposed to be one hell of a battery. Let's have a look at the dimensions. Height is exactly the same, width is exactly the same, and length is exactly the same. It's an exact match. Right, let's get these fixings sorted out. Right, so you got the little bushings that go underneath there, and then you put your bolt through the top. Bish bash bosh, done. The only thing I would say is probably put a little bit of grease in there, dielectric grease in there, something like that, and that will just hold that in place a little bit. That's what I'm going to do. Right, now just to put this back in. Take the dipstick out just for ease of access. Pop the battery in. Put the cover back on. Dipstick back in. Then button it back up. Put the positive on first, negative on last. Now again, just put a bit of dielectric grease on the top of your bolt here. It just helps to hold it in place while you're lowering it down. What you might find is that you might have to just bend the negative cable, the tab just up a little bit so it fits over. the terminals are slightly set back on this battery from the stock one, so just need that extra little bit of reach. Right, in. Let's put the fuse back in, see if this fires up. Moment of truth. Done. Okay, so all I'm going to do is button this back up now, and then, well, give it a test. So I'll catch you in a minute. A week would have passed, and I'll let you know if there's any difference. Right. Okay, a week has passed since I fitted the new battery, and the very next day when I went to hit the starter on a cold start, I had exactly the same issue, that faltering start, and I lost power to the instrument module and to the clock. Right, so then I was scratching my head wondering what the hell was going on, and then I realised, you know what, I hadn't actually put the battery on charge overnight. Although it's a brand new battery, I hadn't connected up to my tender, that kind of thing. So what I did, I connected it to the battery tender all through the night, and the very next day I took it off the tender, and it fired right up, no problems at all. I rode it that morning, and then about 12 hours later it was left out in the cold all day. We've had sub-zero temperatures here all week, 0, -2, -3, and then just over 0 as well. I'm talking right in the middle of the night here. Anyway, so after about 12 hours, I went to fire it up, absolutely no problem at all. That was the same for about 3 days, and that was every night I was coming back and I was putting it on the battery tender. For the next 3 or 4 days, I took it off the battery tender and just to see how it would react. And I've got to say, it's been absolutely fine as well. No problems at all, fires up straight away. One of the reasons why I decided to change the battery was I went to do another battery drop down voltage test, and whereas before I was getting in the region about 10.5 10.6 volts, still within limits, then when I went to test it again, it actually went down to 9.8. now whether I'd not got an accurate reading the time before or whether there was a dramatic drop anyway, so I thought, you know what, 9.8, that's not a great deal. And considering what lots of other people have been saying about the battery as well, I think I was steered off the battery because of the positive feedback, or the positive test that I got from the dealership saying that the battery was still fine. And but it's that cold start that it really didn't like. Anyway, so I've put a brand new battery on and it's been working fine so far. So just basically I went all around the bike again, obviously made sure that everything was all tightened up, all the grounds, made sure all the connectors were all good and tight, good and cleaned. I cleaned some of the electrical connectors, the instrument module connector as well, and then really made sure that it was a good connection as well. So I have been doing lots of other things before I put the new battery on. So when I fully charged it overnight, it's been absolutely fine, and ever since then, even with the battery tender or without the battery tender, it's been absolutely fine. So it does seem as if it was the battery all the while. I did troubleshoot along the way. I did rule out the battery because of that positive test and the drop down voltage test that I initially got, but it just goes to show you, you know, it's worth checking these things again and not discounting them totally until you've really positively identified what the issue is. But I say the new battery's gone on, it seems to work. This is not a recommendation for this battery, by the way. This is just a battery I'm aware of here. I know they're a decent battery, slightly less CCAs, they're 310 as opposed to the Harley 315, but it's been working absolutely fine. So there we go. You know, it's sometimes you just gotta check and check again and see what the issue is. But as I say, I was steered off the righteous path, as it were, because I got that positive feedback, or a positive result from the dealership of the battery, on the stock battery. So now I've put this one on, it seems to be working absolutely fine. And so we are in winter now here in the UK as well, of course. So you know, lots of cold temperatures. So I think I'm going to be keeping it on the tender anyway, just overnight, just to give it that that good old boost first thing in the morning, and then see how we go. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't come back again, this problem. But anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. Say a week has gone by, and I've tried to do it in all sorts of different scenarios. Start it up really quickly, start it up when the security system hasn't gone through its full check yet, picking the bike up and having it lay on its side stand, all sorts of things. When it's hot, when it's cold, when it's really cold. I purposely left the bike outside in the howling cold wind one day just to see if that would affect it, and it didn't. It just fired right up. So there we go. Anyway, hope you found that useful. So this is the last video of 2021 for you. I hope you've enjoyed them, and well, thanks for sticking around all this time, and I just want to wish you all a very happy new year for 2022 and any other future year as well. And hopefully I'll see you again. Hopefully. Ta-da.